Okay. Hi folks, it seems I'm live now. So let's start. Just give me a second. Okay, so earlier we left off where we were not able to get the JWT token, and which was blocking us in fetching bytes, which are like for approved users we want to, or authenticated users we want to fetch all the bytes. uh, I think like the terminology authenticated, yeah, it's actually called authorize, my bad there. So we are using the term, it shouldn't be authorization, it should be rather authorized, right? This makes more sense. Yeah, this is fine. So for all the authorized users we want to show the records, not for anybody else, right? So if you are not authorized, you should just see this one, the byte that is approved, which is JWT, and the user table as well. Just a second, let me pull up my Twitch chart here. Okay, should be fine now. So yeah, we want to, like, for anonymous users we just want to show like JWT and user table, because these are the approved bytes. But then uh, for users who have logged in and are authorized with special privileges, should be able to see all these records, right? So as of now, my user, because there's just one user right now, so that user is authorized already, so that user should see all these bytes, right? Like regardless of whether they are approved or not. This is something we are working on, but the blocker was that we were not able to get the user ID from the token, which would tell us that yeah, your user is authorized or not, right? So this is something I sort of spend some time on, and then I think we have a solution for it. So let's take a look. Yeah. Okay, so for to get started, let me source the environments, and then let's quickly run npm run dev to start the servers. Yeah. So currently the way the code is set up, let me show that, rather open that. So if I open the fetch API function, currently it's just filtering out the approved bytes, right? So regardless of whether you are logged in as a authenticated user or not, it's just showing these two approved bytes. This functionality is fine for anonymous user, but as a user who is also authorized, right here, they should see all the bytes, right? So what we want is to get the token here and see if it has this user ID property. Also thinking about it, like just having user, just having this, whether the user is, like, having a user ID alone won't be sufficient. So but yeah, let's take a look. So this is complaining we are not using get.json, so let's remove it altogether. And then let me go right here. So yep, the first thing we want to do is we like the problem that we are running into is, right, like, so the JSON token is something we were trying to fetch from here, right? So all we were doing is, like, we are doing like JWT get token, right? And to this we pass the request and the secret. So the secret we will get from this auth file. Just a second, auth, and let's split it. How do I split it horizontally? I have forgotten that, but let me split it vertically for now. So this is the value that is there for the secret. So for now I'll just copy it over, but then later I want to replace this with a environment variable. so that this thing I don't need to do again and again. So this is how we get the token, right? So and then from this we would get a token, and then console.log the token. This should ideally work because this is the API. And then like earlier, while thought of thinking through this, I realized that like how do I debug this? So just a second. So to debug it, I realized like it's clearly not working if I go to localhost 3000, right? So if I go here and I review the logs, okay, so right now I'm getting a promise pending. Is this await? It might be await. So let's see. So if I refresh this, I get null, right? So that's a problem. But then if I go to directly to the API route, which is /API/fetch, and you see like here I get the token just fine. It has the user ID, it has the expiration time and all of that, right? So this is working fine. So that got me wondering like why it isn't working or what is the issue here. So then I realized that where this request is coming from, right? Like it's coming from here. So whenever we go to the index page, we do a fetch request, right? So the fetch request here that we are doing, right, we are doing it manually. This is not something that happens when we go to this page, right? Like that, this is a byproduct of it. Like it happens indirectly. So when it happens indirectly, we are not really sending all the data with it, right? Like whenever you usually like, go to the browser and refresh or like press enter, right, like you are sending some data through it, like you are sending the cookies and all. But here on this side, we are not, with fetch we are not telling it that hey, we want to send some cookies as well. So that I realized could be the problem. And then I was sort of looking into it, like how do we send cookies with fetch. So there is an option called credentials, and you pass it include. So I tried this out as well. So if we go to the server and then check here, no, not this one, because here we are not calling the fetch here, right? So here again we see null. So this doesn't seem to work, right? Like even though we are giving it we are calling fetch with include credentials, I think like it won't work because this is on server side. So I'm not really sure about it. So the other way around was to explicitly pass the cookies, right? So I think like we can do that. Like we can pass the cookies as a part of header. So we can say like headers, and then here we can say cookie and then pass some value, right? But then what is the value is something we have to figure out, right? So if we now explore the context and then we look at the logs here, so let's go here, refresh the page. So here we get like one big object, and then earlier we saw that it has a response, and then above it there's a request, right? So in the request itself we have a lot of things that we get, like method, URL, raw headers, and there's cookie here, but this is nested within is this within socket? Just a second. So we are looking for cookies, this cookie exact, to be exact. No, this not this one, this one actually. This, the below one was related to raw headers. So this one, and it's nested within headers, right? So the way we access it is like we say like context dot headers dot cookie. Let me quickly check whether it's header or headers. It's headers. So if we log it for now, it's, yeah, it should be like I should be accessing the request first and then the headers. And if I go back to the server logs and then now we just happened, yeah. So if we refresh the page, you see here like it's printing out all the cookies, right? So this is what we wanted all along. Although like the value here is still null, and the reason for that is we have taken these cookies but we haven't passed them here. So let's do that. Let's take the cookies from there and then print them here, right? Let's get rid of this console log. So now in our fetch request we are explicitly passing the cookies, right? So this is our session ID and so on. Like we are explicitly saying that when we do a fetch request, but this is not something that we are creating manually. It's something that we are getting from the server. So cookies can be empty, these can be populated as well. So let me format the file. Should be good. Now let's go back to the server and refresh. So you see, like we are getting the token now. We are getting the user ID. Now user ID is all right, because there can be users who have the privilege and some who don't have the privilege, or who are authorized and some who aren't authorized. So not everybody should see that. So now let's go back here, right? Now this is something that we have to figure out actually. So we did this, like we passed the values to token in the, I think in one of the callbacks. Yeah, right here. So here what we are doing is, like if user has a field email, we are checking and then adding that here. So this is basically where we add the token. Yeah, now the next thing we want to do is so in case the user is logging in, right, like in case they are signing up or like logging in for the first time, we are pretty sure that they won't be admins because nobody has given them the right. So we have nothing to do in this block, right? So in the above block, in case they are signing in again, and what we can do is we can add a check where we could do, yeah. So should we do it here also? Like that's something I'm wondering, like because we are just running returning the user ID. But yeah, I think like because all the queries are happening here, we'll have to do it here. So if we find a user with the current email address, what we do is we also check its one more property, which is like, let's create it here. We'll call it is authorized, right? By default this would be false, right? So that we don't have to define it again in the else condition. And here we'll say like is authorized is equal to true in case or let's write the condition first. The condition would be r dot fields authorized, right? So I'm not sure if what the boolean values are, but let's also print it out here, right? So let's do a console.log r dot fields authorized, and then we'll set is authorized to this value, right? So that should be it. Let's manually cast it as a boolean just to be sure, like in case it's a string or something. I think like it will convert it automatically, so we don't need to worry a lot about it. Now what's the issue that, yeah, okay, so we need to do this. Now we are also like right now we are just returning user ID. Let's also return is authorized. So we'll have two parameters coming in from this, right? And we can pull them here. This would be is authorized, and then we'll add this property on the user, right? So user dot is authorized is equal to is authorized. So here we are explicitly putting it on the callback. Yeah, we need to do it here as well to put it on the token, like add a is authorized here and pull it from the user, saying that whether it's authorized or not. And yeah, we need to do it on the session as well. I need to validate like whether doing it on session is required or not. I think it is. We are doing it on the session so that we can access the values on the front end. So yeah, let's do it anyways. This is primarily for authentication, and on server side as well it's required. So one is primarily required for authentication, and then the other one is for front end as well. Okay, so with that, let's refresh the page. So okay, what just happened? Not sure where that came from, but okay, it's loading the page. So we get the token. Yeah, because we are not signing up here, right? Like I think we did a log right here is authorized. So let me sign out, and I'll sign in again, and we'll check how it behaves. I'm not sure where this null comes from. Yeah, we are getting a true. That means this user is authenticated, because it didn't have to create the user, right? Like you're seeing that is authorized is here. How about we remove this now, like uncheck it. I should log out again. So now if I log in, is authorized should be false. Ideally, like the way we want it to be, it should be false. Yeah, it's is authorized as false. So this is working as expected. Let me get rid of this console log. Yeah, this is the one. So now we have is authorized, right? So this is part of the token which we can access in the fetch function as well. So the token is here. Token has a property called is authorized, right? So rather than printing it out, what we can do is we will we will show only the items where in case the byte is approved, or the token dot is authorized property is true. So let me just type it out first. So basically what we are saying is only show the bytes in case the byte is approved or the user is authorized, right? So in case the user is authorized but the byte isn't approved, still show it. So that is what we want. So let's try. Okay, that didn't seem to work. So now let's take a look at the token value again. Maybe I got something wrong, so let's see. Okay, so is authorized is false in this case. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. I think like because we updated the value, right? So this was expected. Now coming back here, let's refresh. No, this is still giving us is authorized as false. Okay, the reason why this happens is because the token is stored in your browser, right? So it doesn't fetch it. It doesn't try to log in again. So all you need to do is log out and log in again. You'll have a updated token. But okay, we are seeing a error here that is authorized is of null. Okay, so I think we have to add a condition here that if you have a token, then try to how about we try this null coalescing. This would give undefined, right? Undefined or approved. Yep. So this is fine. Let me validate by removing it and then checking again. If it throws errors, then we are fine. Yep, this is good. So this is optional chaining that we used. Okay, so now let's log in, and when I log in as an approved user, or I'm sorry, I keep missing the naming, but as an authorized user, I should see all the bytes. Yep, we are seeing all the bytes now. So this is all good. this is something we wanted to address in our previous, like the earlier stream today. So let's go to our readme. Show all sounds for authorized and only approved sounds for unauthorized. So this is fine. Now we can move on to the next task, but just give me a second. Yeah. Okay, so we are good here. So let's commit this. Let's make this bigger. So did we protect pages? No, we didn't do this, right? So I'm not sure how it got updated. Yeah, we don't protected pages for authors. Yeah, this is something we want to work on. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is fine. This is fine as well. This looks good. Okay, so the only thing I want to do before I sort of commit this is let me do that quickly, is to move the secret to a environment value, and that should be it. So if I go to my local environment variables, we will call it secret, and then the value would be okay, so I'm using this value. Okay, so coming over here, let's just replace all the reference of secret with the environment variable, and that should be it. So we are using it in fetch and in auth. So let's start with auth. Here I will just do secret and then replace it here, secret, right? And then the other one was within fetch, not fetch all. So within fetch I want to use not this const equal process. So from this we want secret, and this would be replaced here as well. Secret should be fine. Okay, so this is done. I think we can commit the whole thing. We'll call it authorization and we'll push it. Okay, so this is done. The next part that I want to address is as an authorized user I should have a URL where I can access all the sounds which require approval, right? So basically fetching all the sounds that don't have approval, and then we get an option to sort of set approval on them. So we'll have to see like how to do protected routes, and I think we can review next auth documentation for this. So if I go here, restrict access is something we want to do. This is something we have already done. Yeah, so this example assumes we have configured app to pass session props through. Okay, Okay, so if we look at so basically what it does is it gets the sessions and passes it to every page, I assume. The example assumes that you have configured app to pass session props, so you can immediately be available on page load to use session. Okay. And then what we have is get session, something we have already done. We have get token, which is something we have used in our API functions. So I think all we need to do is just create a route, which could be like /admin, and then on that route a user can, not sure why the user got logged out, but like a user can sort of review all these bytes. Yeah, I think that should be it. So not sure about like whether to use this. Let's also look at the this example project. Like I want to see like how they have configured private routes. So if we go to pages and then _app, they pull in provider from next.client. The function gets component and page props. To options they pass sync session state with server if older than 60. Okay, this is something we would want to do. If session has expired, when keep alive is trigger to open up. Okay, this is also something we want to do. I think like we can just use this component as is as a reference. This is exactly what we want to do with slight changes. So right here, the first thing we want to import is the provider. So we'll import the provider from next auth/client, and then wrap the component within with the provider. Provider, and to the provider we have to pass a options object. So this takes in a bunch of options. Yeah, let's look at them. So first we want the client max age, and this one should be 60. I think 60 seconds is fine, although like we would probably make it more. Let's say 3600 for now. And then also we want to, okay, not that, we want to update all the tabs in case it is out of sync. And there is also, to this provider we pass in another property called session, which basically takes in page props and the session property on that. Right, if we save it, let me run prettier on this, and the component as such doesn't do anything differently, so this is all fine. So any page that uses use session, for that it will be faster. So that's good, because like all the pages that we have will use session, so this should be good. The next page that we want to create rather than access is we'll call it admin.tsx, right? So let me, we don't actually, we do need, we need to copy this, like almost the same server side function. So let me copy the whole file actually over to admin, and then pull out whatever is not really required, right? So the first thing that we don't really need, why are we mapping over data in case we are not? Yeah, I think we can just do a const here. This should be fine. Okay, so not a side track, but we want to also create a another. Do we really want to create another endpoint? I think we don't. We can make dues with this one with the same thing, because it fetches the data. It does the exact thing. Only thing is that we want to filter out the objects that are not approved. That's it. Okay, we'll take a look at that, but yeah, besides that we don't need recorder, player, upload bytes, upload or header, none of these. Where is auth URL used? I'm not sure. Okay, it's used at the bottom, so yeah, we do need it. We need session, certainly. We don't need any of this. Did I remove bytes? We do need for the state. I think we don't even need this for now. Let's get rid of it. We might come back to it, but yeah, for now let's get rid of it. Header, I think we do need. Actually, let me revert it a little bit. So recorder, player, upload, bytes, audio. This is something we don't need. We don't need this. We don't need this either. So based on this, we can remove all of this here and the bytes as well. We can call it something like this. So now the thing that is, yeah, we'll also get rid of the effect for now. We might come back to it in a bit, but yeah, for now it's fine. Why is this complaining? Oh, okay, it requires byte. At least the type, if nothing else. Okay, so that did import it. Should be fine there. Now if I go to the server logs and then also open /admin, okay, so this is good. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to check if in case there is no session, right? So let's do it like this. So if there's no session and yeah, if there's no session, you are not authorized. Right, otherwise we just do, I think we need bytes, but let's do hello instead. Yeah, should be fine. So okay, it shouldn't be this, it should be a colon here because it's a ternary. So it says like you are not authorized, and then if I sign in, yeah, I get hello, right? But then the problem is like it's not just the session that should be enough, right? If I think we should do like if the session is there and session dot is authorized, this is where the additional value that we pass to the session in the session callback comes in handy. Like we can access it on the front end. So we flip the condition so that like it makes a bit more sense. Now it still should work the same as before, because yeah, that's the way we we did it, right? Like we flipped the conditions. Now what I want to check is like, because it's a really simple to just go to the session here and toggle this value to false. Does it not flip? Okay, but yeah, like I feel like this value can be mutated from the front end, even though it's server side, right? Like I think like if the user sort of switches tabs or like clicks on a link, so let's actually emulate that. Just a second. Yeah, so if I now go to index, let me, I think it's called link from next slash link, and up here I think I can do it just below the header temporarily. I can say like link, close the link. I have completely forgotten the API, so I wouldn't even try it. I'll just say like next link, or rather next JS link is something I should use, but okay. It should be importing a link and href and then the a tag within it. So this would be href as /admin, and then the name would go within an a tag. I will call it admin here, and that should be pretty much it. But let me also run prettier on this. Prod. I do need to fix the prettier on this. Okay, so this is done. Now imagine if I go to the, you don't need to imagine, I'll just go to the home page, and you see there's an admin link. So if I click on it, so let me, before I click on it, let me make authorized to false. Even though I'm authorized, I'm just sort of changing this value, clicking on admin. Okay. Yeah, it did revert back because it pulled the value from the token, I guess. Okay, that's fine. I think like if it's working fine, we'll later on pry into why or how it sort of resolves this, but then that's good that it's working as expected. Although just a second, you see like I'm just getting two sounds here now, so that is different than before, right? Like let me refresh. I'm just getting two sounds here, 2 bytes here, and if I refresh again, okay, still getting two. Go back to home page in case something is broken, unless something is broken. Okay, we're still getting two. So have I removed the authorization? No, I'm still authorized, so that's fine. I should see all the values actually, because there are, I think, a bunch of them. Yeah, there are a bunch of sounds here. So either the logic is messed up or something else is a problem. So let's see. This is the index file, right? We are getting the token and all. Let's go to the fetch. So the way fetch works is we get the token, we say like if token is authorized on it, or the sound is approved. So let's see like if let me close this, let me reopen the application and see like what is the value of is authorized now, because I think like that might be the problem in itself. So if I go to home, under session, is authorized is true, so that is fine. So now let's log the token here for a second to validate things. right? Going to the server logs, refreshing the page. Okay, I'm immediately getting a null here. So that in itself seems like a problem to me. Like, why are we getting the token as null? Right, this shouldn't be null. Yeah, so let me log out once. Okay, then sign in with GitHub. At this time we are still getting two values, so let me comment this filter out and see like what values do we get. Then we should get, in this case at least, we should get always all the values. Yeah, we are getting all the values, right? So maybe our condition is wrong, because but are we we are not even getting the token now. So oh, okay, I realized what the problem is. Okay, yeah, so we made a change, right? Like, we earlier used process.n for the secret, so that could have been the issue in itself. So let me restart. I think like we don't need to make any other changes from what I'm guessing. So if I revert this, I'll let it log the token, just to make sure it's working as expected. Going over here and refreshing. Okay, now we are getting okay, now the token isn't matching. Token verification is failing now. So this is using process.env and secret here. So let's make this bigger, and the other file would be the auth file. So process.env is different here, and then we have a filter. Okay, I'm a bit confused now why the token isn't really happy with the value it's getting. Here are, how are we using the secret here? Right, so yeah, it seems secret is fine. We're using the same secret across multiple places, so this should work as expected. But let's try to restart the server once more and see the logs in a bit more detail. Okay, so it's doing its thing. Let's see. Yeah, immediately we get a null, but yeah, I don't think we logged anything. So let me just print out the secret. What could be the issue that the secret wouldn't work? Yeah, let me actually, before I sort of dive into this, let me check like if it has some hashes, because from what I read earlier, like some things don't work, like, or no, it wasn't this actually, it was a different project. But yeah, let me still go through the environment file and see like if I've updated it correctly. Secret seems fine to me. Right, I've converted it into a string. Yeah, you see it here, like it's fine, but let's get rid of this. Let's get back to this one and check again. So if I refresh here, uh, at this time it shouldn't even throw error from what I can tell, right? Like, because I'm logged out, so that should be fine. So now if I try to log in, sign in, this time I'm guessing like maybe the token earlier was invalidated somehow. Yeah, I'm getting the token now, right? So is authorized and all of that. So at this time, like, we are getting all the values here as well, so that's good. And if I go to admin, I should see, why does it say home here? I'm not sure. Shouldn't say home. Let's close and open this again. Maybe the function is just called home because I copy pasted this, so that could be the reason. Yeah, because it doesn't have any other state like the home page, which is fine. So let's come here, let's update it. So I'll go to admin. The first thing to do is replace or rename this to admin. If I refresh the page, hopefully home should be replaced with admin. Yeah, it's called admin now, so that's good. Now the next thing we want to do is, because this page will fetch all the bytes, we just want to filter out only the bytes that haven't been approved. Or actually, what we should do is, like, when the user is administrating, he should be able to administer every sound rather than just a very specific. So I think it's fine. Like, they should see all the sounds, not just some of them. And the way we want to administer them is, the user should see listing of sounds and some actions next to them. So the way we are doing it on the home page, right, like, we'll take a similar bytes listing, but on top of that we'll add few more things. So right here we are listing the sounds, but we want to add, say, some buttons next to them, like, say, like a rename, or delete, or unapprove, or approve, right, a checkbox of some sort. So the way we have done it is, like, on the home page we have this bytes, right? So and bytes within itself has actually nothing, and it would have been helpful if there was a component right here so that we could reuse it. So let me create it actually. So let's delete this. We will call it this is not the best name, but should do. Right, and what this returns really is just this part, all of this. So we take it from there and paste it here and put a return in front of this. What is the issue that we are seeing now? Cannot find name byte. Did you mean byte? No, I did mean byte. How about we wrap it in a paren, and then here we could print out byte item and then pass it byte, which would be byte. So let's now run. Okay, now we can see, like, what the issues are. So we are okay. Yeah, this is incorrect, right? So this should be something like this. Yeah, should be happy now. So we have abstracted out this byte item. Now I'm thinking, like, maybe we can just rename this interface rather than rename the It's used in byte, it's used in the listener. Yeah, it's just used in the listener and that's it. So I can call it byte I, which is byte interface, and then replace this here, and similarly here as well. And this can be byte now. Byte item would be called byte, and we'll replace it globally. So this should continue working unless yeah, we have to go to listener as well, and we will import byte I instead. Just update it here. We haven't looked at the listener in a while, so we'll come back to that later on, but for now this should be fine. So we have a byte. Let's export this so that we can use it in other places. Also I'm thinking why don't we do it like this, something like this, right? I have forgotten how render props work since hooks have come out, but yeah, I think like we can do a render prop here so that we can also use bytes a little bit. So the way we use it, like we pass it a render method. And how does the parent work? This is a mouse tracker. Does this example do render props? I don't think so. I think this one might. Cat, mouse with cat. I think like these are all examples. Yeah, this is what we want, right? Like we want to return this dot props dot render. Okay, we can do this dot props dot children and then pass to that, pass it. Okay, so instead of this, yeah, let's see. Yeah, so this wouldn't work, so let's do something like this for a bit to comment out the code. What I want to do is I'll say like return this dot props dot children, and from this to this actually I want to pass byte, right? So this is a single byte that we want to pass. Now this is being used in index, so within index I actually have byte and also byte I as well, so this would be byte I, so that is fine. And byte, the way byte was used earlier, yeah, so it will still take in bytes, but the children that it would render would come in here as we did like props dot children, and then to the children, how do we do it now? Yeah, I think like we'll get just something like this, right? So we'll get byte, and we'll do byte, to that we'll byte pass bytes. It's getting really confusing, but then like hopefully this works. So now it's complaining that bytes children bytes element is not assignable to intrinsic attribute. Okay, so something we have to change there, and then parameter byte implicitly has any, we can tell it that it is byte, actually byte I. Hopefully this is happy. Yeah, this one is happy. Let's fix this. Let's tell it that it will also take in a children prop here. So this would also take in children, and children, I'm not sure what the type for that. It's something like react dot child children, I think. Props with children, I think this should be it. Not too sure, but let's see. Like if we go to index, let's see like if it's throwing any errors or not. Yeah, now we have a different error. It's saying that okay, yeah, all right. So let's see like how we type render props. So react render props TypeScript. I haven't really done it, so I'll have to look it up. Render props in TypeScript. Yeah, this is what we want. No. Children, yes, element. Okay, I think we can directly jump to the very end and figure it out from there. So okay, not really straightforward. It's pulling in these utilities as well. It's omitting from this prop, omitting the children. Okay, this is really confusing. Let me see like if, because I don't want to read the whole article, so let's find a more straightforward solution to this. So so it says render props here. This is on change. This, yeah, this does this like props dot render and all of this, and then on change takes in this. But how do we type this? So we select on change takes in and on change takes in an on change. Okay, that's a input, or it's a method on it, and which takes a react change event and then returns void, and also takes in a value string, expand it on change props, takes in initial value, renders. Yeah, okay. So all we are doing is we have expanded is this one, right? So initial value and render, but we just need on change state, I think. No, we need on change props only actually. So it says that like element is missing the following properties: react children map for each only into array. Okay, this is a prop. So if we go back, let me make it bigger, and then this is the index, but this is happening in bytes, I think. So here you see like bytes basically takes in children, right, and to those children's it passes this byte, right? So okay, for a second how about we do a ts ignore? Can we do a ts ignore here? I don't think this comment would work. Let's try this comment. I don't think this would work, but I am happy to try. So let's see. I don't want us to get sidetracked. but yeah, it doesn't work. Cannot read props of undefined. Okay, that's a different story altogether. Yeah, this isn't really available in this case, right? So if we go to, where are we doing? Okay, in the bytes file. So in the bytes file we are doing this, but there's not this, right? So there's just children actually, because this is not really a class, and now it's throwing an error that this expression is not callable. React children has no call signature. Okay, so how about we do like a at ts ignore here, put any in front of it for a second, or till we figure out a solution for it. Okay, yeah, so this is working, which is good. Okay, so the way we have refactored it is that bytes, like anything you pass to bytes, it will be to the bytes component, which is this one. It will sort of take the bytes value or the bytes data and sort of through each iteration pass it to the children, right? So like as many children there are, this is also confusing. Like what if yeah, okay, I think yeah, like as many bytes there are, we want to render children that many times, so that's fine. Now let's go back to admin. We want byte I here as well, and let's do this. So byte I has been typed. And the next thing we want to do is right here. So I think we can, rather than, okay, it's fine for now, but yeah, it will get difficult actually. So let me write it over here for a second. So or rather right here. So we'll do like we need bytes, so going to line 16 and importing bytes, so that we have the looping mechanism, we don't have to write it. So we'll say like bytes, and to this we pass the bytes which we have stored in the state on line 11. Now to this we pass the children, right, and we get a render props. So we get a byte, and now we decide how do we want to render it. So earlier we are just doing like byte and passing it the byte, and this is same as homepage. coc command right here. Okay, so if I now go to homepage, we should see a similar listing of all the sounds. Yep, but the advantage we have here is that now we can also to this add more details, right? Like say like I want to add h2 and say hello here. So with render props we have added this flexibility that this can take more values. Now the way we want to do it is I'm not really sure now about like doing render props here, because this seems like adjacent to the component that we already have. Like we have bytes and then we have this separate thing altogether. But okay, that's fine. So here what we can do is, so imagine we have a section here. So what exactly do we want to do? We want to approve a sound and also rename it, right? So we can probably select, have an input field whose value would be something, and there would be a input check checkbox should be type. Actually, type is equal to checkbox, and then its value would be something. So the value of this would be the name, so this would be byte dot name, and this would be byte dot approved. No auto completion for some reason. Okay, it's not typed here, although bytes is typed, so I don't know. Okay, approved is not correct. What is it then? Do we even have it there? Okay, we don't have it, so we'll have to add it, but let's do it for now. Let's go to bytes. This would be approved boolean, right? And you see, like, next to all these files there's a there's the name of the byte and then also a checkbox. And if you look at the bytes, only user table is even JWT is actually approved, right? So in an ideal scenario, like, this should be checked by default. So let's see why it isn't. So before I do anything, let's go back to the file. Before anything else, let's just log, like, what byte is, or let's not do it here, let's just check the console itself. So we can look here, we have bytes, right? So bytes, the first one is JWT, and we haven't yeah, we have a approved property here, right? So it should say true. So I think, like, there might be a issue on this. It might be saying, like, use default value okay, yeah. So it wants it to be a string or a number, right? So we can convert it into a string by casting it manually. Although I'm not sure, like, how that would work. Like, React should actually take a string, but I think, like, everything would now be a checkbox, checkbox, although it isn't. It is throwing errors because you provided a value prop for a form field without an on change handler. Okay, that is fine. It's telling us use default value. It is just a warning, so that shouldn't be a problem. Let me revert this change. I'm not sure why it is not taking this default value. It should, but it isn't. So if we see, like, to each byte we are passing approved to true here, right? So that should have worked. Let's see the console log. It's just asking for keys, and then, yeah, default value. Let's convert it into a default value. Maybe that might be it. Default value, I don't think that would help, but yeah, anyways, doing it still. It's saying now that, like, boolean is not assignable to type string. I think it might be sort of messing up the types. Empty. Checkbox, yeah, it should have been fine. Let's see, React checkbox. Do we have to pass it a string? From what I remember, we don't. checked. Oh, okay, my bad. Doesn't need a value, it needs checked, right? That's even the browser API, so we can't expect any different in case of React. So yeah, this is checked. Remaining, like there should be one more that is checked, user table, and rest shouldn't be. So this is fine. Now the other thing we want to do is just add a button next to it, which basically just uploads this value, right? So we'll say like input, what is it, or we can probably just do a button. Let's do a button. So we want a button submit, and we'll call it update, right? So this, let's convert this from a section, oh no, from a section to a form. What is happening? Pressing the wrong keys again and again. So we want to convert a section to a form, and then on its submit we'll add a handler. Submit, so here we can define a submit handler. This will get the event. We will prevent the default behavior first of all. Just give me a second. Hey, sorry about that. Okay, so continuing back where we left off. So we were working on the event handler for the form submit. So we'll do like a e.prevent default, right? And we'll do a console.log e. This is throwing errors because we messed up something here. This should be import. Let's see. So if I go up here to the very top and add another T to it, like it shouldn't do anything. Okay, so first of all, it's not allowing me to type, and the reason for that is this should allow me to type, right? What about update? Okay, let's come back to that in a second. Let me click update. It says undefined, which is fine. What we do, e dot target click update. This still gives me about current target. So if I click update, in this case it gives me the form, and then on the form, if I store it as a global variable, we can do, I think it has names, something like there's a property where we can sort of, there's a method or a property which will, this is what I'm talking about, right? So it gives us the HTML elements, and from these two we can pull out their value, right? So like from this one I can, or rather like let's look at checked. I can do temp1 checked would be true, and then temps10 would be here, we'll check for the value, so we'll get JWT, right? So this is something we want. So let's pull in the values. Let's do like current element, and then let's save it here. We'll do e dot current target dot elements, and then from this we'll get the first one would be the name, and the second would be the approved, right? And then these are just the elements. So what we want to do then is we want to do like I think like we'll just do a fetch request, and then we would Well, like temporarily, let's try this out. Like we can do console.log name dot value, and then also approved dot checked. Okay, these two values. If we take a look at them, let me refresh. So if I click on this, you see like I get JWT and true, and here I'll get sign in and false. So this is good. Okay, so yeah, we do need event handlers on these as well so that we can update it. So we can probably do like if we have a event handler on this, so it can be on change. So if I I don't want to manage states, I'll do like e dot e, and then we'll get like e dot target dot value is equal to, or rather here doing e I don't think this would work. Yeah, pretty sure it wouldn't work because we are just assigning the same value to it. Yeah, it doesn't work. We can't really store the state either. So okay, let me just take a quick look. I don't want to manage state, I want to keep it local, so I'm just saying like how should we do it? I've done it multiple times, I just can't remember the best possible solution for this right now. So I'm just taking a look at what are the variety of solutions that we have. So in case we have multiple inputs, I see most of the people suggesting like having state. I'm not really into that, but I think we might have to do that, just that. Let's see. So we can have a event handler. Yeah, handle change is handle change. Yeah, okay, I think we'll have to use state only. So the way they suggest is the problem here is that like this value isn't really unique because this is repeating over and over again. So either this should be a component where it has its own state, so we'll have to move this to a separate component so that like each form has its own state, and there we could do, okay, let's do that here itself. I'll say let me copy this over and do yeah, like maybe outside the component itself. So we'll say like form, paste it over here, we return this. It will take in byte as a prop. Yeah, that should be, and then we can also define a submit over here. Right, and then let's wrap this in a paren. Also let's do a coc command prettier on the file. Yeah, it's easier to comprehend what we are doing now. Also, like, we would want some state on the form, so each form has its own state. And then this would be form set form, right? So the way it would work is you have this submit, right? The submit is a different thing, and then we also want a on change handler. Now thinking about it, right, like now that we are managing state, we could probably do this. So by default it will have a couple of things. It would have a couple of states. It will have the name. This would be byte.name, and then there would be approved. This would be byte.approved, right? So this is the default values that it would have, and it would just use it from the form itself. So it would be form.name, and then this would be form.approved rather than byte. Okay, and on the change event, what we will do is submit is something. Yeah, there would be an individual submit per byte rather than like a global thing. So that is fine. That is something we'll come to. But then every time you change it, change an input field, you want to change the state of the component, right? So all we will do is we'll say, like, whenever you change the input field, what we want to do is we want to do set form, take the existing form, and then change the input to be e dot this would be e dot target dot value, right? Something like this, and then close this here. Is it throwing errors? Yeah, it's throwing errors, saying argument of type string name any approved any is not assignable to such state. Okay, what am I assigning to this? This is giving me a string, and this is input. Okay, it's not called input, it's called name. So this should be fine now. And then similarly here we'll do a on change here as well, and this would be again an e, and set form. This would be form comma name, or rather approved, and then e dot target dot checked. Based on checked we set approved. Still throwing errors. Yeah, we need to close this. So let's do a coc command prettier. Okay, so this should be fine now. Let's use this instead of the form that we were using earlier. So this whole thing would be replaced with the form, and then we'll pass it byte as byte. Yeah, this should be fine. And then here we can get rid of this, or we can take this submit, put it right here, right? So if I now refresh this, okay, just need a okay, sorry about that, guys. So coming back here, so we already have that we have our form component, and it has its own state. I think we can update the input values, update it here, and you see like the state for each form gets updated accordingly. Now we just need to hook up the update button, and the way it would work is, second. Yeah, so actually we are missing a very critical piece, but yeah, let me come back to that. So if I click on update, right, so all it's doing is it's fetching these two values and then it's logging them to the console, but rather we'll just send a post request. But the important thing is, right, we don't have the byte ID, which is very critical to sort of send a request, right? So let's see, like, if we are getting any of those bytes ID. So we have bytes here, and yeah, we have ID here, right? So this is what we want. Let's pull it here as well. So the way we will use it is we'll pass, okay, the form is already getting the byte, so not a lot of work needs to be done. We just add this here, right? So let me say byte.id, and let's test it out. If it logs the ID as well, so our work becomes a lot more easier. So let me click update. Okay, let me click update now. Yeah, you see the ID is here. Okay, so now all we have to do is create a API function that takes in these parameters and updates the record, right? So to do that, we go to the Airtable API. Let's close all of the tabs that we don't need. Yeah. Okay. Going here. Now going to JS. What we want to do is, on the byte table, we want to update a record. The way we do it is, let's do it for yeah, it would be interesting if we can do it all in a single go as well, but yeah, I feel like that can make things more difficult than easier. So okay, we also need a user for this. We'll have to figure that out as well. But yeah, it needs the ID, the values that we want to update. I think it needs all the values, unless it can take in some of the values. And yeah, it sort of, what does it give us back? Approved, right? Yeah, I think like that is it. If it succeeds, it succeeds. But like you're saying, right, we need a user ID and we need all these parameters actually as well. So let's see, like, if it takes just a few values to update. To update a byte record, use the update or replace method. There is a replace method. I think that might be an alias. An update will only update the fields you specify. Okay, exactly what we need, right? And replace would be a destructive. So we just want to do a update, and that should be it. So let's create that API method. Go to pages, API, and then create a, how about we make a copy of this? So we'll say like copy, we'll call this update. So this, we do need Airtable, we do need Slug as well. Although, where are we using Slug? We're just using Slug for S3, right? So we don't need Slug. We don't need S3, we don't need S3 keys either. So all of this can go away. We don't need this S3 initialization. We just need Airtable. We need we have the request here. From the body we will grab what would we grab from the body? If we would grab the, yeah, we'll grab the properties. One would be name and the other would be approved. Right, these two will always send across. We don't need to convert it into a buffer, we don't need to send it to S3. None of that is required. Here, right here, what we want to do is in the bytes table we want to do a update, and actually we'll also have an ID here. So we'll update this ID, and we will pass in name is fine. We just want to update these parameters, so this would be approved and this would be approved, right? I think this is pretty much it. We are good, I think. I guess this is what it needs, right? Yep, it seems like that. So the next thing would be to go back to our, let's make this bigger, to go back, yeah, let's keep this open and then go back to where were we doing this admin. Yeah, so we are doing, like, we want to do fetch here, so let me open in this, open the upload.tsx file and grab the fetch request from there. So we are doing it here. Let's do this. Let's yank it over to this bit. Let's close this and let's make this this submit a async function, right? And this await will work now. This URL would be update instead of API. The headers are fine, the request is fine. Here we'll just change it to be form.name. The ID would be byte.id, and the instead of data we would have approved. So approved would be form.approved. Something like this should be fine. Let's do a coc command prettier. I think that is pretty much it. Let's try it out. Let me first of all go ahead and update or restart the other server. Say npm run dev. We don't need this tab, so let's get rid of it. Let's refresh the page. We're getting the token, we're getting the warning, so because we are not used the key, so that is something I can fix in a bit. Now imagine I want to rename this JWTT to JSON web token, right? So I click update. Let's look at the network. Okay, update request goes to this endpoint. If we look, approve, true, ID this and name this. So, and as a response we get an error with no details. We just had like, why no details? If we take a look at the bytes on this end, yeah, this actually updated. So why are we getting a bad response is the question. So we are submitting something. This request is just awaited, we don't do anything with it. Okay, yeah, we have to look at upload actually. Yeah, okay, we just need to do like a response.end here. I think that should be it. Does this not? Yeah, this should be fine. Okay, somebody just followed me, so thank you for the follow, Stare Dart. Let me pull up my chat just in case somebody is typing something. Okay, I don't see anything on the chat, so maybe I missed the older messages, but yeah, I have it open now. Okay, so where were we? So we were doing a response.end. Okay, so let's test it out again. Let me refresh the page. So we earlier changed it to JSON Web Token, so let's revert it back to JWT. If I click update, let me clear the logs here as well. So yeah, update still throws a 500 error. Okay, did I? Yeah, I think I updated the wrong file. Okay, let's fix this. Let's revert this. Let's revert pages API upload. So this is reverted. We want to go to update. Here instead of doing like a, there's no location here, so it will throw an error. Yes, and then let's refresh. Okay, so far it's fine. Let's call it JSON Web Token. Clear this once more. Update. Yeah, update is not throwing any errors now. The other thing that I want to do is every time we update a list, right? Every time we make a change, actually, we send this request. I want to sort of refresh this list as well, because this list is outdated now. So as you see, now it's populated with the correct value. So because like this will give the user a, like the user might be confused like whether their data updated or not. But the problem here is how do we tell the user that the value changed? So maybe we can update a value on post update. So you can say like updated, set updated, right? By default it's false, and then we pass it to form. Yeah, let's pass it to the form. I might have to do one more request, but we'll come to that in a second. So or rather, we don't need to pass updated here, we want to pass just set updated. Right, so we'll pass set updated, and going to the form, here it will take set updated, and then after this request we'll say like set updated to true. I think it doesn't really matter. You can probably do a mat.random. It doesn't really matter what the value we set. We just want to trigger it. Like we just want to make sure that it updates. And going down here, by default it's up. It's empty, or it can be null. And then what we can do is like we can do a use effect. So this will, what this will do is this will run only when updated is changed, right? So this would be our queue into fetching the data again, and the way we will do it is we'll just do the same thing we do on the index page. So similar to this, let me get rid of all of this. Let's revert this to const. Let's take this effect. over here and then replace it with this one. And now all we do is we don't need to do this check, we just do updated. If updated has changed, then that should be fine for us. And we are setting bytes, so just call go over here. I think this should be good enough, but let's test it out. Okay, so if we go over here, that's a refresh. So let's clear the logs. So we have all of this. Now if I update this, right, if I update to JWT, I click update, or actually let me refresh the page once more. I don't know what this is fine. So if I update it to JWT, it should send a request to like do a update request, and then after that, like once the update request completes, right, like this request completes, it should call set update, which in turn should trigger this effect, which should sort of fetch the bytes again and set the bytes, and this value should update to JWT. So if I click this, and let's also uncheck this bit. So if I click update, yeah, you see it did a update request, and after that immediately did a fetch request as well. So this is what we want. And if I go to bytes, you see like approved is removed. So what if I just do update, like update this value, do update here, data fetch as well, and you see approved is here, like it's approved again. So now the user has a way to sort of manage or approve all of these sounds. So now if I think like on the home page now, it doesn't make sense to show all the sounds, right? So what we can do is we can go to the fetch. And now I'm realizing that the fetch and the admin endpoint should be different actually. But I'm also thinking like, can we do query parameters? But yeah, I'm not really a big fan of that either. So this is pulling in all the data, which is fine. Okay, so let's try it out as a like a logged out user. So if I directly access the admin page, it tells me, okay, it shows me the form, and I can still update it. Okay, and also I don't have any authorization check on the function either, so that is something we would want to look into as well, because like somebody can directly access the sorry, I got confused. Somebody can directly access the API and then sort of change values there, right? So we would want to add some security there. But okay, so first of all, going back to the home page, what we see on the home page is fine. On admin, we would want to get rid of the form, right? So let's fix that first. So what has changed? So let's close this. We want to open the admin page. On the admin page, the form shouldn't be always visible, right? So we would want to use the sessions here. I think we are already using session somewhere, right? So we are using it. Also we are repeating the header and all of that again. I think we can do better in that case, but yeah. Okay, yeah. And one more thing, that the admin like byte shouldn't be accessible to anybody that is not an admin, right? So if we move bytes here, on the admin page, nobody should be able to, like, basically they shouldn't be able to access the page at all, right? So yeah, this is what it should look like. And if I go over here, you'll see the page, right? So either you'll see the bytes or you'll see like you are not authorized, and that is fine, right? So that solves one of the problems. Let's format this file first. So you see command, then prettier format file. Okay, now I want to make the endpoints secure, right? So how do we do that, right? Because from the front end it's fine. From the front end we are requesting this endpoint, but it should only be accessible from the front end, right? So okay, let's see. So we want to go to the fetch endpoint first of all. So this request should only happen in case it's happening directly from the function. So how do we make our make our API endpoint secure is something we want to look into. I think like authentication, yeah, actually, right, yeah, we do need yeah, so imagine like if you have an authentication token and then also the user. Okay, we don't need a user ID. Actually, we don't even need a token, right? Like this API as such should be public because anybody should be anybody should be able to access it. The only thing is like I want only this front end to access it, like a very specific URL to access it. So what we want is course, right? So let's look like, do they install any packages? Yeah, they do. They install the course package, and then if we look at, they have something in their lib, so we might have to look into that as well. But they have this course package, they have this middleware, initialize a course middleware, read more. So this just uses the course. Okay, go to this URL and it allows these endpoints. We say like await. Okay, and let's see what the middleware does. Yeah, this is something we would want to use. So let's do lib init middleware. So it takes in the middleware, it returns another request response where it returns a promise. The middleware is taking those values. In case there's an error, it rejects with the result, otherwise it resolves with the result. Okay, and this takes in an origin as well, right? So we would want to add that origin. Okay, let's try it out. I don't think we have before we actually do that. Let's see. So how are we protecting this route, right? Admin. Let's see, admin we are protecting by, like, can any logged in user access it is something I want to check before I can get into like other sort of security. I want to check like if this authorized part is working or not, right? This admin page shouldn't be accessible to this user because they are not authorized. So this is something we need to fix first of all. This uses the fetch, so fetch is fine. There are two parts that should be prevented. One, access to this page, and the other thing would be access to upload API calls. So I think the check that we did here is that is the user authorized, right? So I think like that should have worked. Let's sign out and sign back in, because the value is stored in the JWT token. So let me sign in. This time it shouldn't allow me to it should basically say that you are not authorized. Yeah, correct. So this is working fine on the front end. Let's try it on the back end now. So how do we do it? We would want to go to update. Yeah, we would want to pull out the token here, check if the token has the correct value and all of that, right? So we use the token within fetch, I think. So let's copy it from there. So we have the token over here, and we also need the secret, and this is where we get the token from. I think we might also have to do the same thing where we pass the cookies and all, but let's see. Yeah, I think we would have to do that. So if we do this, go to the page here, let me sign out. I have updated this authorized now, so let me sign in again, sign in with GitHub. Yeah, I should be able to access this page, right? So now if I send a upload request, so you see I'm getting a token here. I want to check like if the token is there and if the user is authorized, only then we'll let them proceed. Otherwise we throw an error. Alright. This is an additional check because if you are not authorized, you shouldn't be on this page, but then there are ways that people could get here, so we want to avoid that. So we'll say like if not token, or if not token but is authenticated, in that case throw error, you are not authenticated, right? You can throw this error and it sort of goes to catch and we'll get a value there. So let me let's do this, right? Like yeah, how do we do this? Okay, let me try this out. We've already updated the function, so if I do like a update, what do we get back? Let's refresh this. Let me remove this T. Okay, let's remove this T. Let's clear this out. Update. Yeah, we get a warning from update, right? But yeah, it doesn't tell us why or what. But yeah, I didn't update it. So I think let's throw a new error. So update immediately fails. Let's see what we get here. Console.log token. It shouldn't ideally fail. Like I'm not sure why it's failing, because token. Yeah, let's try this out. So if I update this, we get the token here, right? So what is the issue? Have I got the, so there's a token, so this would be false, and token dot authenticated. Oh, okay, I might be making one of them, like this would become false, this would be also false. Okay, let me log it. So comma, oh yeah, it's called is authorized, or is it called just authorized even? The user, yes, it's actually Let's see, I don't remember. So we did it in the auth file. Auth file, we called it is authorized, so it's not authenticated, right? So it's is authorized. I think it should now continue working as expected. So if I click on update, yeah, it should happen seamlessly. So if I add, like, remove the checkbox and add a here and add the checkbox back, it should update here as well. Okay, this is working fine. Now what I wanted to do is I wanted to copy this as a fetch request, right? Then go to this tab, inspect, go here, paste it. Can I paste it? I did copy it, right? Okay, now I want to get rid of all these headers, right? But where's the body? Okay, the body is here. Method is post, mode is course. We don't want to do any of this. I think we can get rid of all of this as well. If I try this out, let's do it then, so that it processes it. Alright, so it because okay, there's a CSP error. Okay, let's even try it here. The same request shouldn't really matter much if we remove the include credentials. I think it should do what we want it to do, even if it's on the same URL. Okay, we get a request. We get an error here. We don't get a message here what the error was. So let's say let's log the token. So let's do a console.log token, and that should help us sort of identify what the error is. So if I send this again, yeah, we are still getting the token. I'm not sure where it's getting the token from. I think we can do headers. We can do credentials and then omit here. Yeah, it doesn't omit anyway. How about we change a value? Yeah, and then refresh the page. So that didn't work, although okay, it is still able to get the token from the request that I'm sending. Is something that is confusing me. Okay, now let's access the endpoint as a logged out user. That should be it, right? Like, why are we taking such difficult steps when it can be easily accessed? So this, but yeah, it's a post request, so we will have to do this. Okay, so by default, if we do this, why is it throwing an error? Okay, it's throwing an error because how about we do a console.log here. We refresh over here. It doesn't even say anything. It should at least throw an error here. I'm hoping for that, but it doesn't. It just did a API upload. It responded back with an error. Does it get to this one? Console.log Did it do anything? Okay, does nothing actually. So if I am sending a request to this is, oh okay, yeah, that was really stupid of me. I'm just calling the wrong endpoint. It's update instead of upload. So yeah, we see the error immediately, right? Although now I'm wondering, like, where was this calling the right endpoint? It is. Okay, so update as such, because it doesn't have a token, it will throw an error, and that's fine, right? That is what we wanted. uh, so now going back to the root of the application, we just need to add course, and that should be it. I would like to add course across all the pages, right? Like, not just to a very specific endpoint, but rather globally. So can we add a middleware, API middleware? uh, can we add a middleware to everything? Let's see. API middleware is here. Okay, API middleware should be fine, because like the request. But then can I add a middleware to every API endpoint? Is something I would want. Okay. There's the middleware. Yeah, this is the middleware. API route with middleware. And then we also are interested in course. But this is the configuration. It says as add course. Which file is this? Run middleware. Okay, this is on a specific route, extending this object. Okay, this is an example of API route middleware. Let's see if it's added to a specific endpoint or it can be done globally. Cookies imported from here. Okay, it's a wrapper here. This is interesting. If we could do this, this would be nicer. I think we can do the same for course as well, although but we'll have to wait on that, so it can't really be a higher order function. So let's go here. No, let's go to the next tab actually. Yeah, this is what we want, right? So a course router, a course middleware. So let's build this, or let's just reuse this actually. This is fine. As of now, we have prevented unauthorized access to this. I think we should do it for upload as well, right? Like, at least the user should be signed in. So there should be a user ID. So let's just grab, or let me just open it in a new tab, upload. Right, so there's no token check here, right? So let's pull in everything that we need. So we need these two properties. We can access secret directly as secret, right? We also want this part, this whole thing, and then if I go here, let's not proceed any further in case we don't have a token, and then also a user ID on that, right? So if all of this isn't present, then you are not really authenticated, or yeah, this would be you are not authorized, and this would be you are not authenticated. So that should be fine. Now, as we were saying, like, we want to define this middleware, right? So let's do let's create a utils directory, because the name is like I don't think we'll create a I'll create a middleware directory right now. Like we don't need anything like that. So although it's called okay, this takes in any middleware and then just uses it. So I'll call it middleware, but the folder is utils. So within this we have a function middleware that takes in a middleware and returns another function that takes in request and response. That in turn is a promise wherein it takes the middleware, passes it the request and response, processes its result, and then if the result is an error, it will reject the promise, otherwise it will resolve it. Okay, so it's this is the middleware, and then if we say for example go to fetch, because this is one of those endpoints that has to be, doesn't have to have any authentication, but at the same time it shouldn't be accessible outside. So if I go to pages API, let's close that for now, and then course. So what we need is let's close this out, let's install the course module. We are pulling in okay, so this is our init middleware, and to this we give this function or like this middleware, and yeah, so let's do this. Let's go to fetch. Now that our course module is installed, let me import it. We call it import course from course, right? And then right on the very top, I think we can do it. And also like I think like we can create the middleware here. Actually we'll do like course, and then we also need to import middleware that we earlier created, so we'll call it middleware from back here. I think utils middleware should be fine, and then so this middleware takes in a middleware, right? So that would be course, and to this we pass in certain things, and yeah, this should be it. So this should be our course middleware. I think I should probably because we are interested in course, right? So let's actually save this, go to the middleware file that we created earlier, and then just put it here, export just course, right? So and configure course here. So the way I want to configure it is it has methods here. I don't want methods to be limited, I just want URLs to be limited right now. So I think the configuration was here. It has origin, it can be a boolean, and then it can have strings, right? Will be allowed. Okay, so we want to do origin, and it will take in string origin specified only request, but can't I do like, it can also do a array set to origin or valid. Okay, yeah, we can do array, right? Let me do array instead then. So this would be http / local host 3000. Yeah, that should be fine. Or for a second let's make it 3001 so that we can validate if it's working, and then I'll go to fetch again. I want to do that. Yep, so let's, instead of all of this, let's import. Okay, actually one more thing that we want to do is we want to go back to the middleware, even though we are using course here, we haven't imported it. So I have it in my register somewhere here, so I can put it here. So this is fine. Going back to the previous tab or buffer rather, we want to use the course. So I think I can say course autocomplete. Okay, that's fine. So we'll do import from utils and middleware, and then here I'll say course, right? This is the one we have, and we will await course. To this we'll pass request and response, and then in case it passes, it will resolve successfully and it will move ahead, otherwise it will reject, right? So that should be pretty much it. Yep. Because we introduce a bit of complexity, let's restart the server. I am logged in as an admin, so let's refresh. But at the same time, like this shouldn't be accessible because we set it to 3001. So fetch should fail actually. Let's see. Yeah, middleware is not defined. Okay, this is a very different error. It's coming up at utils 18. So on line number 18, what's the error here? Okay, middleware is not defined, right? It's called init middleware, and this actually. Oh yeah, let it remain like this. I would not want to make it a default exclude though. Okay, now coming back here, let's clear the screen first. So let me run npm run dev once more. Let me refresh the page. Let's see. So far it's working, which is not what we wanted. Right? Like it should not work. Fetch should not respond with the data because we have told it that it should only work on localhost 3001. So let's see if we have configured it incorrectly maybe, or something else is a problem. So let's go to the fetch function first. ये क्या okay, so we have the course middleware. It's there in middleware. Do we need to return this? No, we don't. Init middleware directly takes in a value here. So course is fine. The import and all of that looks fine as well. Let's do this. Types course. So if I now go to the middleware again, let's see, does it? It doesn't. It's weird. It doesn't jump to the definition either. Okay, now it does. So doesn't seem. So the options it takes in is so these are the course options, right? So let's go to them. It takes an origin which can be a boolean string, regex, or a string or a regex array, which is fine. Methods is optional. Allowed header, all of this is optional. Pre-flight, continue. Yeah, I think the way we have configured it is fine. Let's look at read through this. Okay, how about we do like a very different URL altogether? How about we do google.com, right? There's no ambiguity here, I feel. Yeah. Okay, let's try now. So if I go over here, I refresh this. It shouldn't. It's throwing a very different error. I'm not sure why. Okay, no, it's not throwing anymore. But then yeah, it's still fetching the sounds. So let's see if I can access it in a new tab as well. I can. So apparently course is not working. Okay, let's see, like, is there a like a limitation, like where they disable it on localhost? Maybe could be that. Issues. There's nothing in the code. Has been blocked. Configuration. Okay. So they are doing localhost 8. No matter what I put in the array as document, Express won't send a header, which when just using string instead of array it works. Okay. Duplicate of this issue. Is this issue closed though? This has been closed. So they are doing origin, they are passing these things, credential true. Okay, thank you, is working as expected with your first configuration. Makes sense. Apologies. Probably the issue shouldn't have done a little more research. It's no problem, happy to help. Okay, the fact that the string is returning the header in your example is actually a long standard bug. Okay, but yeah, let's for a second let's go ahead and try doing a string instead, right? Let's try this. So going over here, yeah, this is weird, like this shouldn't happen. Why this is happening is something I'm not sure about, but what we really want is to see also, like, all these sounds proactively loading is not something I'm a fan of. We'll have to see, like, we can lazily load them. Okay, I'm still able to access this even though course has been configured. Okay, it seems like my webcam is not responding. Just give me a second. Okay, so I think like I'll continue without the webcam for a second, and yeah, let's come back to it. So okay, so course right now is not working, so that's a problem. And what if we just do this? Let's go back to the next example. So here they are just doing course and passing it this object, taking course and awaiting it here, right? So if we now go to fetch, taking course, import, we have imported the course here, and we are just awaiting it, right? So let's try this. I've removed all the parameters. Now this should work fine because like we are directly accessing the endpoint, so that would work. Now what if I let's wait for this to respond first. Now let's go to a different endpoint and try to fetch this, right? So if I do like fetch localhost and then get the response from here and then turn it into JSON, if it throws a sorry about that, if it throws an error, then it means that course is properly configured. That's it. Yeah, you see, like it's throwing an error, so that means it's working now. To validate this, let me enable GitHub here. So let's go back to the middleware file. That was middleware, and let's do an object here, and this would be origin, and let's make it github.com. See, the server is started. I think it did. Let me request this again. No, it's still failing. So although it says like refuse to connect to this endpoint because it violates the CSP directive. Okay, how about rather than I wanted it to be GitHub so that like we can validate here. How about we do it on my endpoint, like my website's domain. So let's try it here, right? So let's do a fetch here. So right here it says that has been blocked. Okay, so now going back here, let's do skip node.dev. Right, so let's do this request one more time. Let's clear the console first. Yeah, I'm still getting this error. Should we do HTTPS in front of it? Maybe. I think that might be required. HTTPS / does it not restart the server? It doesn't, it seems like. So maybe all this while the changes were there, but then it didn't restart. Who knows? Okay, let's refresh. Let's send this request again. Yeah, I think it resolved this time. Yep. So now if I try it on a different URL, I think GitHub doesn't allow it. So, but that's fine. It says that it doesn't allow because it has set this CSP directive, which means that you can't request anything on this domain. But this is allowed. Let's try something else. Let's try some other site. Let's try Google or DuckDuckGo instead. So if I fetch on here, it says it has its own CSP header. So let's find a site. I think all the majority sites would have this. Let's try a blog. I think Netlify blog would also have it. I want somebody's blog, like for someone like who hasn't spent enough time on like setting up CSP. Let's see if this does that. It's throwing a course error. Okay, so this is working as expected, which is good. Now the URLs that I want to allow is let's actually do this. So we want to do like a HTTP localhost, HTTP / localhost, and then 3000 I think should be fine. And then also on the server, or actually, you know what, I think we can just get rid of this. I think by default it takes the current host, so that should be fine as such. So if I now take a look, let's restart it once, and then if I go back here, fetch, it is resolving still. Oh no, yeah, it's still resolving. Okay, so by default it allows everything. Okay, so we can't do that. So let's put it back to where it was, 3000 first of all, and then we can add more URLs to it. So let's see this one. So the server is starting. Meanwhile, let me look into my webcam. Okay, so fetching again. Yeah, I think my webcam is working as well now. So it's still allowing this to pull from these URLs. Let's delete the array. Trying once again. Earlier it was working, so I'm not sure what the issue is. Like, is it an issue with localhost or something? Let's see. Yeah, now it's throwing errors. So I think it's an issue with it taking an array as a parameter. I think because like the only change we did was this. So that doesn't look good. Like, this is quite limiting. So if I fetch this again, if it does resolve, it's still resolving, right? Oh, it is resolving. It is throwing this error and it's still resolving, right? So that's a problem right there. Like, why is it resolving and then giving us this data? If it's throwing an error, it shouldn't resolve at all. Also, I think like, why is this is service worker, right? It's going through service worker, so yeah, not really reliable here. We can go to Kensi dots. Like, this is a block that I can remember for some reason right now. So let's go to this. Yes, we have been streaming for like almost 3 hours now, with some breaks here and there. But yeah, I do want to wrap up now. Okay, so if I send this request, what just happened? Like, why did it do twice? Yeah, 2 requests went there. Let's see. None of them resolved, it seems like, right? Both of them failed. Just to be sure, where is our fetch rate? So this didn't resolve and this didn't resolve either. So this is fine. If I come back here, does this resolve? Yeah, it does work. Okay, now the other thing I want to do is, like, the second one should be a regex, and the way I want to create this regex is like, it should be based on the preview URLs that next generates, right? So if we go here and then we go to bytes, so if we look at the pull requests, and by the way, we do need to merge these as well, but regardless, what we get is like a preview URL, which is https bytes and dash something dot skip note, or yeah, let's take this. Let's go to regexer. I think this is what it's called. Yeah, this is the one I like to go to every time. This has a decent UI. So one of the URLs is this one, right? And the other one that we had, or the, okay, just let me find the tab first. So this is one. Let's open another one here. This is one. Let's try this one as well. So let's copy this preview URL, copy link to address, paste it right below. I'm not sure why it's okay, it's just wrapping. Let's copy this URL as well. This is the original or the main primary URL, right? So the scheme that we want to follow is https / then bytes. So we need to escape these. slash slash, right, and then bytes, and then there can be anything up till dot versal dot app, and this is not mandatory, so we'll put a question mark here, right? Yeah, this matches everything, so we'll take this regex, we'll put it here. Let me paste this. What just happened? So let me do yep, and then wrap it in this, make it case insensitive as well. I think this should be fine, right? Like this URL is allowed, nothing else, right? So we should be good here. We will validate it in a bit, but with this we have set up course. We are just allowing localhost. Now let's add it to a few more places, but let's go back to fetch once again. Let's make it bigger. Let me open upload, right, upload.ts, and let's introduce it there as well. So we need course, so importing that here, and then we need to do a, let's move it within try block actually. So let's use await course. Yeah, so let's try upload now. Let me restart the server once. Let's kill all these additional browsers. Don't need any of this so far, so yeah, this is fine. Let's go to the home page. I do want to get rid of this error, so I'll do it in a bit. Hello, we are just checking for course, whether it's working or not. So now if I do course, the only thing I want to check primarily here is that whether all the methods are allowed or not. So that is the primary check here. So if you see, it's uploading, and upload did work fine, so that's good. Now if I do a copy as fetch, right, or even copy as curl actually, yeah, I think like copy as fetch is fine. What if we go to Airtable? I didn't mean to do that. So paste this in here. There's a lot of, I think this is the audio. This can be skipped, the headers part. So let's get rid of that. We don't need the referrer or referrer policy for now. And then if I scroll down over here, method post, mode, course and credentials I'll remove. Let's remove this comma as well, and let's send this. So it says that no access to fetch at this origin is blocked by course. Okay, so this is good. It's blocked right now, and so this course is also working now. We can make this bigger again. Go to this pane. Let me also open up update. That is something we also want to update, and quickly checking like what are the other endpoints we have. Like we have fetch we have done, upload we have done, update we have done, right? So API is fine. So I think like we just need to do this last one. So let's import course, and then we need to do this line, and that's it. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, so now if I come over here, I go to admin, right? On admin, instead of course I add one more s and like make it approved. I just want to grab this as curl, so this does update, and then I do like a right click, copy as fetch. I said curl, but I actually meant fetch. So now if I paste it over here, I do want to get rid of all these headers. This can go away, this can also go away. We can get rid of this part as well. And if I send this over, it says that again it's blocked by course, right? So update is also blocked by course, so it's working as expected. So the endpoints are secure now. Let's quickly fix this issue with I think it's on bytes. No, we have the listing here, so where is the issue then? So you are not authorized. Okay, I think like this is the error that it throws. This is, why does it throw this error? This is an update, right? So update. If yeah, I'm wondering like why did it sort of get to this point where, okay, I'll come back to this in a bit, but this is coming from admin 72. Right, so admin line number 72. Yeah, here we are iterating over these items. So in that case it should happen on the home page as well, not just on admin. Or no, actually no, it wouldn't. Yeah, it would. This is happening on index as well. Let's quickly validate. Yeah, it's happening on index as well, so let's start with index first. Here we have byte, right? So we want to do like key is equal to byte.id. I think this should resolve it. We can get rid of this ts ignore as well. So let's refresh one more time, and then meanwhile I'll go to admin. Yeah, the error went away completely. I'm not sure how the error went away. Okay, I need to go to admin. Yeah, the error is still here. So yeah, so right here let's make it a div so that I can add a key on it, and we'll say the key is byte.id. This is fairly unique, so we shouldn't have any problems with that. Let's refresh. Yeah, so the error goes away, right? So I think like that should be good enough for now. Let's quickly take a look at the diff. So byte I update, move the bytes to a different component, and then here we are again like updating the byte. This is just update in package.json, package log.json. Here we are wrapping everything in a provider. Here we are using cores in fetch, then in upload as well. This is upload again, upload, and here we are checking like whether the user there's a user or not. Similarly in pages we are updating the bytes interface, removing this let and reassignment of data for no reason, adding a link to admin, and then yeah, updating the bytes component to user render props. Okay, so this all looks good. Let's update the readme first. So we also did okay, page protected page for authorized user to approve. or update sounds, and then add course API and points. Okay, so I think that should be it. Let's see if we have added everything. We haven't. So quickly going through. Let me do a git diff without a package lock. All of this looks fine. This looks fine. This is our admin page. This looks fine as well. This is home page. This is course, middleware. I think this is fine, so we can commit. So let's push this up, and then we can go to our GitHub repo and then check the deployment. So you can see an deployment happening here, so we can go to this. Not here. Does it log it here though? It doesn't. Okay, we can see it here actually. So production is pending. Okay, let's go here. What does this look like? We want to check both the preview URL and the other one. I think the preview URL is already deployed. Let's see if production is also done. This has failed. Let's see why. What is the issue? Okay, bytes refers to, did you mean type of byte? Okay, this is failing in player. It should be byte I here. So let me also do a npm run build to make sure we don't have any further type errors. But then this bit validates that course is working, because I can do a /API/fetch, and because I'm not signed in, it should fetch me only these approved sounds. Let me now fetch it from this endpoint. So if I do fetch, we just did this, right? So let me replace this with the correct URL, and if I go to the network, or we did get a message here like it's not allowed. Airtable is not allowed. Okay, so build is working. So let's commit this. Let's amend to the previous one. Okay, so we can just then after this check the production deployment. Okay, this is, yeah, it's running again now. Let's wait for this one. These would be the logs. Okay, so it's still queued. Okay, still waiting. Okay, now it's running now. So we'll just wait on this. Meanwhile, let's go back to our repo. So and we'll see like what we have lined up next, right? So we'll also open the site so that we can compare the two. So yeah, we have added cores, we have added protected pages as well. I do want to add ability to block users as well, but I'm thinking like that's a bit much right now. Besides that, okay, so while it builds, besides that, we just have fixing type errors, because now since we have disabled strict type checking, there are a lot of errors. The UI looks terrible, so I want to fix this, and there's no tests. The webm file is actually a problem, right? Because it doesn't work on Safari. Even if the user can't upload it, they should still be able to listen to them. So I think we should probably move this up, because this is quite important, really. It's quite important that the user can listen to the clips, not to the sound bites. Okay, so is the deployment done? Okay, the production deployment is done now, so let's look at it. It should be able to. Okay, rather than this, let's take a look at this one. Yeah, so if I go to I click refresh. If I go to admin, it says you are not authorized. If I click on sign in, I think like this will fail, because yeah, this is incorrect. But let me also check like GitHub apps callback multiple values. We can't we provide multiple values? Like that seems. Yeah, you see. My problem is I would like to yeah, exactly my problem. I think so you can set up yeah, it seems like they don't support it. So what I'll do instead is I'll just create one more app and then use it. I think that should be fine. Yeah, that's the only way. But yeah, actually let's do it, and after that we can wrap up. So let me go here, let me go to GitHub. Let's do this. Let's go to settings. Let's go to developer settings. Yeah, this is still limiting because we can't do like deployment URLs and all of that. And that's very sad of them that they don't allow neither regex or neither multiple values. The optional redirect URI parameter can be used for localhost URLs. Is there a redirect URI option? I don't think so. Okay, so let's do it the way we were thinking of doing it. The site is bytes.vercel.app, so let's use that here, update it, and then the callback would be similarly bytes dot this thing, and then API auth callback. This is fine. I think I do need to update the client secret, so let me do that as well. How do I going to settings, actually to projects. I'm sorry, I'm doing it on the different screen, so you won't be able to see it, but let me do it quickly so that I don't take too much time. So I don't want to open the app, I just want to edit it. So let me click here, go to settings, let me reset client secret as well. Okay, doing it as quickly as I can. Copy the client secret over here. Can I not? Okay, I can just remove it, I can't edit it, which is fine. It's called GitHub client secret, and then add it. So I've added the environment variable here. Let's now do it for the local as well. Like, let me go to a different application that I already have. Let's call it OR test. Reset. So let me move it to workspace 4. So okay, where did I close it? So quickly doing it, like now I just will update the local one. Settings. Okay, go to developer settings quickly, go to OAuth apps, go to OAuth test, copy the client ID, right here, paste it over. That is not the ID, that is the secret. That is fine. Then update the secret as well. Okay, so the local is updated. I just need to add the rest of the settings are fine as well. So what if I do npm run dev, or let me also source the environment variables. Locally it should work. That is something we want to test out. And then meanwhile let me also trigger one more deployment, because okay, so this will trigger a deployment there. Locally let me log out. So I'm logged out. Let me refresh once just to check. Now if I try to sign in with GitHub, okay, immediately it throws an error, says that there is a mismatch in the okay, the callback is incorrect, so it should be API auth callback. So I have updated that, so let's check now. So trying again, by the way, deployment is happening here too. So GitHub, get rid of this tab. Yeah, okay, so now it is using this different app called OAuth test, I think, but then sign in is called, and yeah, I'm logged in. So I think user is still skip note, which is fine. I would eventually want to use a different table here as well, or at least account as such. Okay, now let's take a look at the production one. Okay, so this is working. Let's close all of this. This is same as production, but let's try this URL which we would want everybody to use. So let's sign in. Sign in with GitHub. Hopefully this works. It does. Great. This is a production test. Hopefully something, or actually everything works. Okay, so the audio was recorded, it's getting uploaded. Let's go to bytes. No bytes here right now, so something is up. Yeah, something failed actually. So let's go to the Vercel dashboard and see what the error was. We could have checked the logs as well. To where we were, we have we are not able to upload right now for some reason, and the logs aren't really helping. Hello. So if I try to upload this, right, so I click upload, it fails. If I go to admin, right, like I don't see any new updates here. Same thing here as well, like no changes here. And I also get like if I go here, so all of these requests are fine, but then let's filter by, okay, this is just upload, right? So let's do upload, or let's actually do update, because upload we know is already failing. Let's do update, and this is admin, so let's uncheck course, update this. So you see, like update also failed. So it might be probably related to the token. Oh, okay, I realize now. So the reason it's failing is because we don't have a secret set on the environment as such. So that is something we can fix quickly by adding it there. So let me go to the dashboard. Let me get a unique hash that I can use. Yeah, this should be good enough, and then go over here. Yeah, go to settings, go to environment variables, let's add a secret, add the token here. So this should be used across various parts that need the token. So let me trigger a deploy. Okay, I do need to commit it again so that the SHA changes. This will trigger a deploy. This will be picked up in a second, I think. Yeah, it's queued, so let's give it a few seconds, and then, like, because if we go here, if we go to update requires a secret, and then I think upload also does that. No, actually upload doesn't require a secret. Oh no, it does. Yeah, right here. So if this was empty, then it wouldn't work, because it wouldn't be able to parse out the token. So I think that's what we wanted. So the deploy is still in progress. Let's go to GitHub here. Bytes. I think it's almost done. Here it says pending though. Yeah, I think now it's done here. So if we look at it here, the first thing we need to do is sign in. I was signed in already, but yeah, let's sign in again. Okay, click on sign in with okay, so let's try to record something. Hey, testing out. I'm testing out. Okay, completely lost track. So let's record again. I'm testing out upload feature with authentication. Upload auth. Let's pull up the inspector as well. And if I click on upload, hopefully, yeah, this did work. Upload auth is showing up here. Because I'm logged in as an admin, I'm seeing all the values here. But if I go to admin, alright, so let's also pull it up on bytes.vercel. So this is not checked, so this doesn't show up here. Let's update it. Let's add a space here as well. This got updated. If I go back here, you see this is showing up now as well. So let me go ahead. I just realized like I didn't add a delete option, so that can go into our readme, or maybe we can just delete, like add a delete option. It should be simple enough. Okay, so let's do that. Let's add a delete option, although we'll have to do a different endpoint for that, which I think is fine. Let's go to pages. Need to make a copy of this, so we'll do. I'm thinking like, can we sort of merge all of this? I think it's fine for now. Make a copy. We'll call it delete. Actually, we can't combine them because the endpoints should be different. And then here, although we can do it through like query parameters and or like headers and all of that, but yeah, I think it's fine. So I think this would be I'm thinking like this would be just delete. Delete, there's no delete. Is there a remove? There is a destroy, which takes in what does this destroy take? It takes in, okay, it's not clear what it takes, but I'm thinking like it would just take just this ID. We don't actually need any of these values either, right? So this is fine, it has cores and all of that enabled. So we go back to admin, and to the form we can also have a separate, we can just copy this over. We'll call it delete, right? And then we don't need to prevent default because this won't be a form. we don't even need any E here. Where are we getting the, okay, we do have a byte directly. So all we need to do is to this we just need to pass the ID, which we are already doing here. We do need to re-render this, so we'll need to do this, and then this this can be outside the form, right? So let's do something like this. Let's do button on click, delete. So this is not happy because boolean is not assignable to event. Okay, how come? Oh, this is not a function as of, oh, this was fine actually. Delete byte. Yeah, delete is a keyword, predefined keyword, so we can't use it. Call it delete byte. Right, the fragments aren't working because it's not closing fragment, and let's format this file. Prettier format. Yep. Now if I go to localhost, yep. So if I go to admin now, yeah, we have a delete button. So let's delete course. Something didn't work, it seems. Yeah, course is still here. So let's see like what the API is like. Table REST API we want to look at. So byte table, delete record, delete using JavaScript. Yeah, okay. We pass it an array. No, we can pass it a single item as such. So this should have worked. So we give it an byte.id. We post it to this endpoint. Update. Okay, should be delete. So if we now check, rather going to the networks tab, clicking delete on course. Okay, it's still sending a request to update, which is not right. Let's restart this. Yeah, this is delete, right? So that should be fine. Delete byte. Yep. Okay, now let's try deleting course. It's still sending in a request to API update, which is so /update is only called on this line, nowhere else. So why is this being triggered for no reason? Submit is called on form submit. Okay, let's refresh this page anyways. Okay, so now let's try deleting. Okay, was I clicking on update since then? Delete, right? So I think I might have been clicking on update and expecting different results. So we sent a request to this. There should be some response actually. Let's see if we can do something about it, but course was deleted. That's good. Let's go to the delete endpoint. Okay, we are doing a response.end, so that is fine for now, since we are not using the response in any way. So we have given the user that option as well, and that should be it. So let's close all of this. Don't need this tab. Let's update the readme. Okay, and then if we look at the diff, so this is fine bytes we have here. Yeah, we want to remove this called. This would be on the admin page. This line we want to get rid of. Okay, so this is our delete, this is our form, and the delete button. This is our delete endpoint. Yeah, this looks good. Delete bytes. So we'll push this up. Yeah, I think with that we have completed the functionality where the admin can delete the bytes as well. Yeah, I think like besides, like if we look at the readme, like let's open it up here and let's do a cat over here. So if we look at this, like right, so we just have like check webm files like for metadata, and also like we might want to convert them to mp4, like fix type errors, clean ui at test. Like I think like we are near completion, right? I think I might do like a this similar to earlier, to like a refactoring and then like minor fix stream, and then post that I want to go back to the bot, focus a little bit more there, like how we can incorporate all the things that we have done so far, or all the features that we have added into that bot as well. I don't think there's a lot, but I think like we can do a few more things, or clean it up a little bit more and all of that. So yeah, in the upcoming stream we'll look into that. And yeah, that is it for today's stream. I think we streamed for almost 4 hours, and then earlier for I think like a couple of hours. So it's been like a very long day of streaming, but yeah, I think like it has been productive. So while I talk through this, hopefully the deployment of deletion is also done. Yeah, it is. So let's quickly take a look at that. Okay, well, this file was, my webcam was off, but anyways, can I delete? Right, so let's try deleting this JWTTA. Yeah, it seems to delete. So yeah, JWTTA is deleted. Let's make sign in approved as well. So if I, where is this, the UI, admin UI? Yeah, so we want to make sign in approved. So I check this, make the sign in S capital, update it. This gets updated. I think here it gets updated, here it gets updated, and let's check it as a anonymous user. I think we have at least the kind of security we would want. All of that is there. we are doing cores, we are doing JWT, we are doing token verification, and then also like user verification, and whether they are authorized or not. All of that is being done. So I think that is happening all nicely. Let's quickly check this. Refreshing this here. Yeah. Okay. So I think like this application has a bunch of features now, which I didn't initially anticipate to add, but yeah, we have them now, which is good. And we did get to explore Next and Nextauth a lot. Nextauth is a really great package which helped us do all of this without uh, requiring a lot of custom implementations, which is usually the case when it comes to authentication. So props to the Nextauth team for that. And yeah, that is it for today. I think all the code is pushed up, so you can take a look at the code base as well. And yeah, thank you everyone. Bye.